Hey folks, it is September 22nd, and I got this going at the end of the workday here. Um, Crazy week in a good way, I guess. Just very hectic. I'm gonna start with work stuff this week just because it's been top of mind, and that's why the week has been so hectic. So we had folks that were able to travel in particularly from Mexico, but some other LATAM regions, and then a couple of other places from, sort of either internationally, I guess, but mostly from LATAM areas. And honestly, just a super cool experience. There's people that I manage that I've worked with for 3 years that I've never never had a chance to meet. So that's been really, really awesome. I want to I don't want to say like I want to create content about this, but I want to, aside from what I'm talking about right now, but there was some interesting conversations that came up that I thought were like really cool learnings about remote work and then this experience of in person. So I want to see if I can film something for going out next week. But the idea is essentially like just different cultures and communication styles, and then like how those can either clash or work together, kind of thing, especially in remote settings where you're not either, okay, maybe you're not exposed to that kind of thing, so you're not aware of it, or you don't have enough other types of data coming at you in a conversation or over email kind of thing to really be able to highlight how some of those things work. So that's a really terrible way to articulate that, but the idea is I think there was some really good learnings about being in person. So yeah, what did we do? I had someone from my team who coordinated a ton of events for the team, which is great. We're very thankful that she was able to do that. Certainly not my forte, so I feel like after seeing everything that was done, I feel like I would have let them down if I was the one organizing things. So um, she did a great job. We had lunches, we had dinners. We tried to go bowling, but there was a challenge with getting the venue. It was booked, and then they were like, "Hey, yeah, we're actually shut down for the week," or something kind of silly. But people went on tours to go see some waterfalls and other sites. I went to do an escape room, which is really cool. Side note, my my wife was like, "Oh, I should warn your team about you doing escape rooms with them because apparently I get really into it." I'm not even good at escape rooms. I've only done a couple of them, but I think they're super fun. So I think I was on my best behavior and not being too erratic or anything like that. So it was a lot of fun. They're going axe throwing, I think in like at the time I'm recording, I'm just checking the clock, in like 20 minutes or so from now. So that's really cool. I don't think a lot of them have been axe throwing, so excited for them to go check that out. But yeah, whirlwind of a week. Really cool to meet people from my team. But there was also people that are not on my team that I interact with, and I'm not in the office much, or sometimes these people aren't even local. So some of them came in, especially some leadership positions and management positions. It was really cool to run into folks and get a little bit of face time. So very much appreciated that. Um, I think in one of my sort of vlogs, I ended up mentioning this before, but there's a there's a person that's in my org that reports to my CVP, and every time he sees me, which is I think only twice now in person, every time he runs up and he's like, "There's my celebrity." And this time around, we were at a networking event, and I was having a chat with someone, sort of another in terms of like position, kind of like a skip level to where I'm at, but not necessarily in my reporting structure. Oops, hit my mic. So I was having a chat with him, which is good because we've interacted a little bit. And then this gentleman runs up and he's like, "Hey, like, did you know he's a celebrity?" And yeah, I think when I made a video about this, he's he's teasing me, but at the same time, it's not like um, he's not making fun of me. So I know that sounds kind of odd, but he's joking around. But he actually, like, so this individual that I was talking to was kind of like, "What do you mean?" and and then the other guy was like, "No, like he makes content to try and teach about software engineering and stuff like that." So I can tell that he's not doing it to make fun of me or anything like that. I actually feel very supported when he does that. It's a really funny way that he kind of brings it up. But yeah, I think it's really cool. Yeah, I'm very appreciative of that. So it was really good to, to have some FaceTime with folks like that where we can just chat. Like we don't have to talk about like what we're doing at work, what the big project is. So overall, that was really cool. And probably the last thing I want to touch on for work related stuff, because I don't know, maybe some people find it boring, but this week was exciting. So this might be another good topic for a video as well, but it's kind of related to the first one, but it's almost like about like creating allies, right? So I had this team that I interface with, and it's never been rude or anything like that, but there's friction between our teams, and I think it's just because there's different expectations, which anytime you have different expectations, there's going to be friction. So, um, we're collaborating on something. We're supposed to be able to deliver something that they can leverage, to make it simplified, I guess. And that's on one particular project, but in our other regular interactions, there's also a couple of gaps in expectations. So as we've been working through this project, I can I can tell that they get frustrated in some scenarios, and it's like, hey, I thought you guys were doing this, like I thought you were responsible for it. Maybe they're not like, getting the answers they want in response to that because it's kind of like, nope, not us, or you got it wrong kind of thing. And ultimately, that doesn't really help. So we've been making sure that we can spend time working together, right? So all of it's been happening over email, over video chats, so being on camera like this. Actually, sometimes not even on camera, just audio and stuff. So those interactions have been better, I would say, than like that's helped make things better. But when I met with them in person, complete world of difference. And just to share with you, because I thought this was really funny, I was telling my team about this, but two gentlemen from this team that I was just speaking about, they wanted to schedule some FaceTime because we're in the office together, and they have this meeting set up and kind of pull me into this meeting room, and there's two of them, one of me, and I'm like, okay, like I'm about to get interrogated for an hour about how can I help support them, and I know they're nice guys, but this is kind of how this setup felt. And the first thing they both said was essentially like, it was thank you so much for all of your support. We finally feel like we have a partner in this. And I got to pause for a second there because like to think about that in terms of how our interactions have been leading up to that, you know, going back to that feeling of friction, right? Yeah, there's absolutely friction from both sides. It's not perfectly smooth, there's challenges, but to hear them say as the opening to the meeting, like, thank you. Thank you for like being there to help support us. It's this acknowledgement that it's like, we know things aren't perfect. Like, we get it. And we really appreciate the fact that you're not necessarily signing up to make it perfect, but you're at least working with us. You're listening, you're trying to help progress things. It was just such a cool like opening to a meeting. And the part that I thought was funny was that, so obviously great start to the meeting, and then their I don't know, in terms of title, it's either project or product manager. I'm not exactly sure. On their PM, I will say, is very passionate about the challenge that we're working through. And his voice started to get louder, and I could tell like he's not angry, but he's like expressing a lot of emotion as he's talking, and he's looking directly at me as he's saying it, and voice is getting louder, more serious, and part of me was like, I'm pretty sure we're agreeing on all of these things. So I can't I almost couldn't tell like, is he getting mad at me? But I didn't it was kind of hard to judge because I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's just passionate about this and we're agreeing, not I'm missing something and he's actually blaming me. But every time he would get into it, it was like very serious, loud, and a lot of eye contact. And by the end of it, when we were wrapping up, again, he was like, honestly, thank you so much. This is so helpful. And it was this huge relief for me because I was thinking, like, I'm pretty confident we're on the same page here, but like the amount of passion when he was kind of articulating some of these challenges, I was like, I just can't tell if he's like getting mad at me for it. So overall, really awesome. And just to reiterate that concept of like having partners, having allies, even in situations where things are there, there's a lot of friction. You don't have to like hate the other group, right? You don't have to have like a nemesis. It doesn't have to be a head-to-head battle. We have friction between our groups, and there's no doubt about it. But we feel like we respect each other and we're making the time for each other, and that is so powerful when it comes to improving things and making things better. So I'll shut up about that. Thought it was cool. Week was awesome. I got basically nothing done, unfortunately, but I think it was important to prioritize a lot of the the people interaction. So that was cool. Um, okay, what else? The meal coach stuff. So I'll talk about meal coach a little bit because not a ton of updates, but met with the other engineer. We agreed we're going to pause a lot of the development. I think I talked about this in the last video. Development's kind of paused until we have some traction, and we are writing articles. Now, this week was, like I said, a nightmare for me to get anything done, which is fine. So I feel like I didn't make the progress I wanted to, but we still churned out blog articles. We still got content published, so that was awesome. Um, I realized, unfortunately, Google was not indexing the pages. So I manually submitted a bunch. I'm going to keep trying to stay on top of it. I'm not exactly sure why it was not indexing, or maybe it's just slower than I would expect. So not positive there, but I'm going to keep an eye on it because what we want to do is get a ton of content out as much as we can, but we don't like we need to be able to measure and then time box it. So let's say we do all this work and it's not indexed. If by the time our time box is up, we haven't seen results, we might go, oh, like it's not working. But if it hasn't been indexed by Google, obviously it's not working. So, yeah. Anyway, just got to stay on top of that. But it's been a lot of work writing articles. So they're not technical like my dev leader ones. So that's nice. I don't have to have code examples, but I can talk about nutrition concepts. That's stuff I feel mostly comfortable about. But when I get into specifics, like I don't want to like mislead anyone, so I want to make sure that I can bring like I have to go check other articles and bring in the right sort of details so I don't say the wrong thing essentially. But yeah, I think that's been positive, and I'm hoping next week that feels like a bit more of a iterative process that I can make progress on. So we'll follow up with that, but so far so good. I'm happy with our constraints this week because he was in a similar boat. I'm happy with how we made out. So all goodness. Okay, dev leader stuff. I've I was talking to some Microsoft people about this because some of them would come up, and I forgot to mention this, but they would come up and they would say like, "Hey, I watch you on YouTube," or "Hey, I watch your LinkedIn videos," and it's so cool to hear. I don't I don't do this because I want to. It would to me it sounds kind of ridiculous. I'm not gonna be famous for making programming content. Like I think Scott Hanselman from Microsoft is like the person who has done that, but he's been like I don't know, he's been making podcasts for I think like over 10 years straight or something intense. Like I'm not striving for that. It's not really I don't I don't want to be famous, and if I did, I don't think it would be wise for me to approach it this way. It doesn't feel like the right thing. So it's the reason it's like it's really nice to hear that is like okay, give you an example. Right now I'm talking to a camera. As I'm talking, I need to be assuming there's other people on the other side of this, right? It's you. You're here watching this. But at this very moment, if I look around the room, obviously no one's here. So it's this disconnect, right? Where when it goes on for long enough and you're not having interactions with people about the content that's being created. I know there's comments and I really value that people resharing things like I get messages and stuff, but when you have real people coming up to you and saying like I watch your videos. It's such a good reminder that it's real people having real experiences about the experiences I share. So, it takes literally one person to come up and say, "Hey, I watch your videos." And if they're not like making fun of you for it, to feel this sense of like it's real. Like it's not I saw you posted a video. I watch your videos implies when I post content, I'm not saying they watch everything, but they perhaps stop, have a watch, or they'll go to my YouTube channel and check things out. Like that's so cool that real people are getting the benefits. So yeah, it's really exciting. I only got 2 videos out this week because I was busy. Tried to stay on top of it, and I know I just went on a tangent. When I was talking to some people from Microsoft, though, I had mentioned I actually was looking at the analytics, and it's the channel's still small, of course, but I've noticed that I'm into a curve now. The growth over the past couple of weeks has not been linear. It's actually forming a curve, um, which is cool. I would love for it to go vertical and boom, I'm Mr. Beast of programming. But like, realistically, obviously that's not the case. But um, even with 2 videos going out, it's not the fact that I just every time I publish a video, it's like rolling a pair of dice and hoping I get subscribers or something. What's happening is it's the results of the videos I have posted, right? I think a lot of my content, because it's educational, is more geared for getting results from search. It's less about like the average person on YouTube seeing something shiny and being like, "Oh, I'm going to click this and watch it." It's probably mostly people that are programmers and software engineers, that's my audience, that are searching for answers. Unless I'm not good at it, and I have a YouTube coach that when we've talked about this, I need to get better at hooking people in. Like that's how it works on YouTube, right? I'm just so bad at it. And I know I shouldn't say that. I know it's going to take practice. I know I'm going to get better. But the reality is that I think my content is a lot more geared for search, and I think I'm starting to see the results of that. Um, the the video I did on vertical slices and plugin architecture, like that's getting in the past 48 hours has more views than like my than the video I published today probably will get. So there's an example of like I have a new video that's going out and probably will not perform as well as something that's been, can I say marinating? Does that make sense? It's been marinating in the YouTubes. So it's cool. And I'm hopeful that other videos I have will have that same effect where if it's sitting long enough and it's searchable, then it will start to kind of have a slope like that or a curve like that. But it doesn't mean I want to slow down, right? I don't want to start to see the curve and go, oh, that's good enough. Like I know I need to keep the cadence up in order to make sure that that curve keeps doing what it's doing for long enough. So it's very motivating. But yeah, I think should be back to normal next week. I'm on call for work, so it's a little bit rough. And I have to catch up from this week. But I'm gonna try to get my 3 videos out. I have the newsletter going out tomorrow. Um, I have blog posts still scheduled every day, so I'm ahead of that. But I want to stay ahead, and so I'll be working on blog posts and stuff this weekend as well for both Dev Leader and Meal Coach. The posting of shorts I've been not doing as well as I want. I think especially this week with the being at the office and stuff hasn't been ideal because I'm like, oh, I know it only takes like 5 minutes, but then I delay it. I'm like, oh, I'll do that in a bit, and then it's like midnight, and I'm like, I need to be in bed. Like I'm trying to be better at being in bed on time, so I gotta I gotta improve on that. But I'm trying not to beat myself up because it was a hectic week. So that's about 20 minutes of me blabbing. So thank you so much for your support. I obviously I really appreciate it, and yeah, I hope that you enjoy these and get to kind of see some insight into my life and how things are going. So still excited about all this. It kind of feels like it's an adventure. So thank you for being here and being part of it. So thanks, and I will see you all next week. Take care.